Hello, LHS students. This is Miss Barber with lesson 9.1 in geometry, which is all about area formulas for parallelograms, triangles, trapezoids, and other quadrilaterals. So here you'll see the formulas for 4 different types of triangles and quadrilaterals. The first one is for a parallelogram, and remember, parallelograms, rectangles fall under that formula for parallelogram, which is just base times height. What's important to notice is that the height is going to be perpendicular with the base, meaning there's a 90-degree angle between the height and the base. They're perpendicular. It's not the slanted height that you see. You don't ever use the slanted height for area. Height will always be perpendicular to your base. A square is a special type of parallelogram, so technically the formula of base times height works. However, for a square, the base and the height would be the same because all 4 sides are the same. So we just say that the area is s squared because base times height, if they are the same, would be squared. The triangle formula, is similar to the parallelogram and rectangle formula in that it's the base and the height, where the height is perpendicular to the base, but there's also a 1/2 times it. So A equals 1/2 base times height is how you'll see it written on the SAT on your formula page, and most formulas are written like that, but in your mind you can think that the area is base times height divided by 2. That's the easiest way to put it in your calculator and think about it. That's because it's the area of base times height, so the rectangle, but you're dividing it into 2 to get the triangle instead of the rectangle. And then lastly is trapezoid. Trapezoids have 2 bases, so we have to find what the average of their bases is. So to do that, you're going to add the bases together and divide by 2. So that's the 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times the height, which is perpendicular to the bases. So again, that's how the formula is written normally, but you can also think of it as area equals base plus base times height divided by 2. So you don't have to multiply by 1/2. You can also divide by 2. It means the same thing. So let's try a few examples. Find the area of the parallelogram. So area formula is base times height. In this case, my base is 6, and my height is 10. Well, 6 times 10 is 60. So it's going to be 60, and I'm multiplying inches by inches, so area will always be your units squared. So in this case, 60 inches squared for my parallelogram. For number 2, it wants me to find the base of a rectangle where the area is 136. So here my area is 136 millimeters squared, and I need to know my base. Well, the area formula, again, is base times height. I know my area is 136, so I can substitute that in for A. And I don't know what my B is, and I know my height is 8. Well, I want to find out what B is. To undo multiplying, I divide, so I'll divide both sides by 8. And I'm going to get that my height is 17 millimeters. Number 3, we have a trapezoid. So trapezoid formula, I'm just going to write it the easier way of base plus base times height divided by 2. And now we just fill it in. My 2 bases are parallel. So in this case, it's going to be 15 and 11 for my bases. So 15 plus 11 for my bases. My height is 7. And I'm dividing by 2. 15 plus 11 divided by 2 times 7. Putting that all in, I'm going to get that it's 91 meters squared. Remember, it's area, meters times meters. Number 4, it's asking me for the height of a triangle, so I'll label that H, in which the area is 192. So area is base times height divided by 2. So let's fill in what we know. Area is 24. The base is the area is 192, my apologies. area is 192 from the problem. The base is 24. I want to know my height. Dividing by 2. So there's a couple of ways you could solve this. You could just divide 24 by 2 because everything's being multiplied or divided. Or you can undo the dividing by 2 by multiplying by 2. So it doesn't really matter. I'll just multiply both sides by 2. So the 2's will simplify on the left. 192 times 2 is 384. Equals 24h. And so we divide by 24. So you get h is 16 centimeters. Number 5, it wants me to find the perimeter of a rectangle in which the area is 154 and the height's 11. So let's draw a picture to help us visualize. Remember, it's a rectangle, so this is a right angle, so my height's 11. My area is 154, and to find the perimeter, I'm going to need to know the base. Well, area is base times height. In this case, my area is 154. My base is unknown, and my height's 11. So I can divide both sides by 11 to solve for b. So b is 14. So I can go ahead and write that in. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. Erase. B is 14. Well, that means that my top is 14 and my left would be 11. So the perimeter, you add up these four sides. So the perimeter, technically the formula is 2b plus 2h, but you can just figure out that I have to add up both 14s and both 11s. When you do that, you're going to get 50 inches. And again, it's perimeter, it's just the distance around the outside, so it's a singular unit. So that's number 5. Number 6, the base 2 of a trapezoid in which the area is 5, the height is 2, and the base 1 is 1. So if you want to draw a picture to help you visualize, you're more than welcome. This is my height. It's going to be perpendicular to the bases, and it's 2. The whole area is 5, and my base 1, excuse me, is 1. Must be allergic to this math problem. And I need to find base 2. So area formula, again, is, oops, touching the screen, b plus b times h divided by 2. A is 5, so I'll substitute that in. I know one of my bases is 1, and I don't know what the other one is. My height is 2, and I'm dividing by 2. So just like in number 4, where I said you can get rid of the dividing by 2 by multiplying, you can do that. Or, as I said, you can simplify. And I'm going to actually do that for this problem, because 2 divided by 2, I know that's just going to be 1, and 1 times something won't impact it. So I'll be left with 5 equals 1 plus b. So b is 4 feet. Moving on, even though technically a rhombus is a parallelogram, it could also be considered a kite because consecutive sides are equal. So we actually can use the exact same formula for rhombuses and kites, assuming we were not given for a rhombus the base and the perpendicular height. So the formula for both a rhombus and a kite is 1/2 diagonal 1 times diagonal 2. So if you're given the diagonals of a rhombus, then you can use this formula. If you were given the base and the perpendicular height, you could use base times height. So now let's apply these formulas. Find the area of the rhombus where AC, the diagonal, is 14 and BD is 10. So again, the area formula is D1. So D times D, you can write it as times 1/2 or divided by 2. Well, 14 times 10 divided by 2 is going to be 70, and the units will be centimeters squared. For number 8, they want me to find D1, so I'm finding my other diagonal. So again, the area formula I'm substituting in is D times D divided by 2. Substituting in 414 for area. One of my D's, it doesn't matter, is 23. The other one I don't know. And dividing by 2. So you can either do 23 divided by 2 or multiply both sides by 2. Again, it's just a matter of personal preference. 2 times 2 times 414 would be 828. And then lastly, divide by 23. So D is 36 feet. So you can try numbers 9 and 10. They are identical to number 8 in process. So go ahead, pause the video and try it. When you're done and you unpause it, I will provide you the answers. So hopefully you pause the video and you're not just listening to me and you actually tried it for yourself. And so number 9, you were able to get that my other diagonal, D2 in this case, is 15 meters. And for number 10, you were able to get that your D1 is 13 millimeters. And again, don't take my word for it. Show your work, figure it out, make sure you know what you're doing. So number 11 and 12 are slightly trickier just because now it's involving more algebra and not just straight numbers. So it wants me to find the D1 of a kite in which the area is 16x and D2 is 8. So I'm still using the same formula. This time my area is going to be 16x. And I'm still doing D times D divided by 2. In this case, 1D is 8. I don't know what the other one is, and I'm dividing by 2. Last time I multiplied both sides by 2, so this time I'll simplify 4 divided by 2, and you're going to get 4. So 16x equals 4D. Remember, I'm solving for D. I want to know the other diagonal. So I'm going to divide both sides by 4. 16x divided by 4 will be 4x. So D equals 4x meters. And yes, it's cool that you have x in your answer. Last one, find the area of the rhombus. So again, area is, oops, going crazy over here. D times D divided by 2. Where D1 is 4AB, so I'll substitute that in. D2 is 7A, all over 2. Well, we can combine and multiply things. I can multiply 4 and 7 together to get 28. And I could go ahead and divide by 2. 28 divided by 2 is 14. Now for my variables, I can multiply A and A together. And A times A will be A squared. And then there's just a B, nothing to multiply it with. So 14A squared B would be the answer, and my units are inches squared. That's it for finding the areas of polygons. Stay tuned for lesson 9.2, where we'll talk about the area and the circumference of circles, as well as the area of regular polygons, so not triangles or quadrilaterals. I hope you all have a beautiful day.